Almost everything we think we know about addiction is wrong. A few years ago, I was looking at some of the addicts in my life who I love and trying to figure out if there was some way to help them. You get a rat and you put it in a cage and you give it 2 water bottles. One is just water and the other is water laced with either heroin or cocaine. The rat will almost always prefer the drugged water and almost always kill itself quite quickly. We're putting the rat in an empty cage. Let's try something a bit different. So Professor Alexander built a cage that he called Rat Park. They've got loads of cheese, they've got loads of coloured balls, they've got loads of tunnels. Crucially, they've got loads of friends, and they've got both the water bottles, the normal water and the drugged water. But here's the fascinating thing. In Rat Park, they don't like the drugged water. They almost never use it. None of them ever use it compulsively. None of them ever overdose. You go from almost 100% overdose when they're isolated to 0% overdose when they have happy and connected lives. Maybe this is just a thing about rats, they're quite different to us, you know. But fortunately, there was a human experiment into the exact same principle happening at the exact same time. It was called the Vietnam War. In Vietnam, 20% of all American troops were using loads of heroin. My God, we're going to have hundreds of thousands of junkies on the streets of the United States when the war ends. The Archives of General Psychiatry did a really detailed study, and what happened to them? It turns out they didn't go to rehab. 95% of them just stopped. What if addiction isn't about your chemical hooks? What if addiction is about your cage? What if addiction is an adaptation to your environment? Maybe we shouldn't even call it addiction. Maybe we should call it bonding. Human beings have a natural and innate need to bond. And when we're happy and healthy, we'll bond and connect with each other. But if you can't do that because you're traumatized or isolated or beaten down by life, you will bond with something that will give you some sense of relief. Now, that might be gambling, that might be pornography, that might be cocaine, that might be cannabis. But you will bond and connect with something because that's our nature. That's what we want as human beings. And a core part of addiction is about not being able to bear to be present in your life. The opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection.